episode is brought to you by Los Cuernos Mine,
and John Milikowski Tax Law,
the Coast News Group,
and Repegs. All of you make this podcast possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Heart of the Matter podcast. I'm Junon.
And I'm Susan Billings.
And we're here at Insperity, again, sponsoring our podcast here. Again, we handle payroll, HR, and workers' comp. We're here with Travis Parker.
Yes, Travis.
What's up, my friends?
Oh, good. We were laughing previous, so we're trying to get
Trying to settle
in
down.
alignment here to be able to interview Travis. But welcome. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe afterwards. We're just putting that plug in.
On Spotify, YouTube.
So,
Yeah.
Travis.
What?
Yeah.
We have so much to discuss.
Absolutely. There's a lot. First of all, you're my neighbor. An amazing neighbor, by the way. He throws parties late at night, but,
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
okay.
you're one of those.
Yeah.
Never, actually. He's really
Ragers.
quiet.
Yeah.
He's really quiet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, we've known each other for years now, and it's we've talked a lot, but a lot of the history I don't really know about you. Can you tell us a little bit about your
This is
history?
where everything, all the things come out
Yeah.
in the podcast.
And
So,
just say anything.
don't
anything.
edit any of it.
Yeah.
Don't- we just
This
want
is
it all.
uncut. As I'm cutting.
This is it.
We're like,
End scene.
wow.
This is actually only going to be a 2-minute podcast, by the way. So it's actually over. We just finished. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And come join us.
Thank you so much. We love you. It was great to be here.
What do you actually do? I always go in blind, by the way.
Comedian.
So
Crack jokes.
Eating. And it works. It's working.
Apparently. Yeah, tell us about what you do. Well, first of all, how long have you lived in North County?
I was going to say, how long have you lived?
Yeah.
Well, that's a great way to ask how old I am.
That's
good
true.
way.
That's actually a good way. Start using that.
Somewhere specific or in general? 107 years.
The editor is going to love editing this here.
Oh my gosh. No. I've been in San Diego since '89. I came down here to go to
Oh,
college
wow.
thinking that college was going to lead me to the rest of my life. But
All right.
Oh my God.
This is what happens when you put 3 people with ADHD together. So.
This would be the best podcast. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, once again, hit the subscription button.
Yeah, right.
Give us a
Why
thumbs
wouldn't
up
you want to subscribe?
and subscribe to this
Oh.
channel. Subscribe to my channel too, because more laughter there.
I
I
gotta
got
get
some tears too.
serious.
This is the second time I've cried.
All right,
Like,
perfect.
really?
No, I love this.
89. Wow.
89, yeah. So OG at this point. Yeah, no, I came down here, well, by trade, I'm a hairdresser. I started hair school when I was 16 in high school.
Really?
I took it as an ROP that I would go to high school in the morning, hair after that, or cosmetology school. Got my license to do hair my senior year of high school. Worked in a dumpy little salon up in Monterey, California. And then I came down here to San Diego in '89 to go to college because my parents were like, you can't make a living being a hairdresser. And
What
and,
even
and the reality was is I
inspired
couldn't
that?
get through
Exactly.
college.
Oh, there you
But
go.
I could make a living out of hairdressing, so au contraire. Yeah.
But what made you go into
why even
hair at 16?
Yeah.
I was a kind of a wild kid. So backing up just for a little story that leads to that decision. My dad was in the military when I was born, and I was in the he was in the military until I was 16. And so my entire life I grew up on army bases, military bases, behind gates, and everybody's, parents made the same amount of money. All of our houses looked the same. It was very black and white. It was very much a structured, inclusive environment, and no one was higher or lower, and that's how I grew up, which was honestly a beautiful way with reflection to be raised. As opposed to like this wealthy community that my son is being raised in right now, that only sees one side of the world, really, and a disservice, I think, to his roots, which is why we try to travel a bunch. But at the same time, when I was 16 and just a couple years before that, I started to go, oh, there's other colors out there aside from black and white. And what I've said metaphorically before is that my parents almost gave me a coloring book that had never been used. And when I started hitting 13, 14, I was like, oh, I could paint this red and this yellow and start to fill in colors. And that metaphorically, again, was sort of my my awakening to different cultures and music, and at that time I was into BMX and skateboarding, and that was this radical culture back in the 80s. And it exposed me to all kinds of people from all over the world that came from different lifestyles. So as much as mine was inclusive throughout the beginning of my life, at the same time, everyone kind of looked the same.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if you were black, white, green, yellow, or anything else, or anything else. Financially, everybody made the same.
Yeah.
So, and we all shopped at the same, store. And so, yeah, that was sort of my moment where I was like, oh, whoa, like you can express yourself and you can have crazy hair and wear wild clothes and, and step into the
Wow.
world as your own peacock. So
I
to
want to
speak.
see a picture of you at 16.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude! We should
Where are
edit
you
this into the
actually?
B-roll.
Okay,
I'll
we'll
send you
put
some
it in.
photos that
Yeah.
you guys definitely want to see.
So
Um,
were you doing like military
and-
haircuts?
What's that?
Were you doing haircuts?
No. So when I got into school, like I'd already found sort of my roots. So I got into punk rock music back when I was like 14, 15. I got into a bunch of goth music at that same sort of time. And so I started hanging out with all what looked like the bad kids in our
Right.
area in those stages, which,
Mhm.
now with hindsight, we were all relatively innocent. We just looked crazy. And we started doing each other's hair, and we'd make our own clothes, and not literally
Wow.
cut and
Wow.
sew, but we'd tear our clothes up and draw on them and all this
Wow.
dumb, crazy stuff. And you buy a leather jacket and then put like really weird stickers on it,
Yeah.
expressing our interest in music. And one of my friends started going to cosmetology school, and he's like, yo, Trav, like you should check it out. And I was like, no, I don't. I don't
Really?
go to hair school.
Yeah.
Well, at that time, there was such a stigma that straight men didn't do hair.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like it is now, where now it's this beautiful,
Yeah.
inclusive world
Yeah.
of hairdressers and
Yeah.
barbers that, it doesn't matter if you're gay or straight or anything at
Yeah.
all. Like it's just a career.
Mhm.
But back then it wasn't. And then coming from a military background, like,
Mhm.
Oh, sure.
being
Yeah.
homosexual was not okay.
Mhm.
Like that was not
Yeah.
something that was accepted at all. And so there was sort of this pre-programming in my head where I'm like, I'm not supposed to do that. Like
Mhm.
and I don't know if I'm not allowed to do it, but I know, like I can't. And so my buddy Bart just kept pestering me, and he's like, Trav, like you've got to check this out. Like I think you'd really like it, and you're doing our hair in our garage. We're doing your hair. Like you're into it. Like it's just art. Like you're
That's
just doing it
cool.
on hair. And so finally, I asked my parents, and I had double calls. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I just
Hey,
asked
yeah,
them.
there you go. Yeah, that's how you.
There was
Yeah.
You were sitting
There was no
there.
phones back then. I mean, there was phones, but
Yeah. It was the dial. Yeah.
back in 1422. And so I asked my parents, and I don't think they really understood it. So they were like, okay.
Yeah.
And I explained to them that I could take it as this career study thing in high school. And there was a program that allowed you, if you were going to take a profession
Yeah.
as an external course or college or whatever, you could miss certain elective classes in school, take the requirement courses, and then ship off to wherever you were going to go to school.
I don't know if they still do that, but I did that too. And
think
I
they
think
do.
it's the
Oh, really?
greatest program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You both are ancient.
I know. Well, we didn't have phones back then.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Well, we had a horse and carriage, though,
Yeah.
and so it got us
That's
there.
good.
It just took a day to get there.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And so,
You used a
old
machete.
Nellie, we had to put her down. So yeah, they said I could, and I found out that you had to be 16 to go to school, and so I started
Really?
cosmetology school
Wow.
and got through the program by the summer of my senior year,
Wow.
and then as I mentioned, started working in the salon my senior year.
16, is that still the case?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I was speaking to a
What?
cosmetology school in Washington yesterday because we're looking to sell them some of our programs, and they do this recruitment thing at high schools,
Really?
and I'm like, you go to high schools? And they're like,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a disaster, but yeah, we
Wow.
try to find people that are in high school because that's when you're
That's
deciding
great.
what that first chapter of your life and career as an
Absolutely.
adult is going to be.
Yeah.
And so we want to expose them to the beautiful industry of hairdressing.
amazing.
That's amazing. Well, what's
Yeah.
great too is that at that young age, you're already making money then, right?
Dude, I mean, yeah. I said, dude, like, yeah.
Yeah. No.
Freaking-
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it goes with this. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I mean, back then,
Yeah.
$2 was a lot of money
Right,
for haircut.
yeah.
Dang.
Uh, Yeah, no, my senior year, I didn't really have to worry about making money. I was still living with my parents, and of course, they were paying for my meals, and it was still only like 17 or 18. And so that I don't remember what I made. I'm sure it was pennies on the dollar. But when I moved to San Diego, I started working at a salon in La Jolla, and in an affluent area, as we know La Jolla is. And that first year, I was like, I just made cake.
Oh,
And,
right.
you know, and that was $9,000 that
Yeah.
first year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
awesome.
was
And you're
like,
looking at college
Yeah.
like,
I was like, I got this.
Yeah.
I had a little side hustle, which we probably can't talk about on this
Oh,
camera, on this podcast
Hey,
right now.
nobody watches this. Go ahead.
DM me and I'll give you the skinny.
No, I mean, come on.
and, and so, yeah, I had a little side hustle going on, so that helped to get me through my freshman year of college. But then my second year with Hustle, I doubled that income. Made 18 my second year. Third year, I doubled it again and pulled in
good.
32, and I was like, yeah,
Well, yeah.
this is happening.
It's working.
Right.
And then my
Yeah.
fourth year was a little bit less than double, but it was up in the, 50, 60 range where I was, like, okay, like I can see that this is going somewhere.
Yeah.
And, calls back to my parents back home, going like, you've dropped out of college, because I ended up dropping out of college.
Mhm.
You dropped out of college, like, are you sure this hair thing is going to, substantiate itself and turn into something? I'm like, look at what's happening.
Wow.
And, and I think so much of it, it just continued to build from there. Now I've been a hairdresser for 36 years.
Wow.
And no jokes
Wow.
with age, but yeah, 36 years,
Wow.
and I'm 53.
And you're in the, what's your facility now? Where do you work out of? What do you do?
So I work in a retirement home.
Okay. So it's
You-
really easy to do hair.
Yeah, you've heard
When
us.
they're
Lots of
bald.
shampoo sets.
Yeah.
So I do call it my retirement home, and that's kind of where I'm being silly with. I've got a small operation in Solana Beach on Cedros, and it's a private studio. It was an apartment when I first took it over, and converted it into a salon. And at that time, when I first converted it to a salon, I had left a big salon that I had in La Jolla with 25 on staff, and decided to downsize. I was sort of done with that chapter and ready for connection to my clients and my trade again, and less in sort of a managerial sense with
Yeah.
other stylists. And
Right.
so blessed that I had the opportunities, but that led me to the decision of what I have right now. And so I had the studio for 2013, I think I took the space. And then in 18 or 19, somewhere right in there, I decided to write my own content and curriculum on how to cut hair,
Oh, wow.
and have a whole systematic process that trains hairdressers all over the world
Really?
on how to cut hair. And we'll get into it, I'm sure, but I've been a facilitator and teacher and coach for over 20 years, helping
Really?
hairdressers and brands build their content curriculum, trends, campaigns, assets for that, and all the
Really?
things.
Wow.
Yeah, so in 2018-19, I've decided, okay, I want to start facilitating my own content out of my space under my own brand, my own school and academy. And so it became sort of this mix between a salon on certain days and then an academy and school on the weekends.
Really?
And then 2020 happened, and I bought a bunch of equipment and decided to start putting the content online. And that's when I started doing my live online courses
Really?
and started
Wow.
building my e-learning courses and my whole
Amazing.
LMS that
Wow.
hosts that content as well. So the space now it's small. It's only 700 and something square feet, but it's divvied up kind of into thirds, where it's my office and dispensary, the salon portion of it that's kind of connected to a little living room area, and then I have a small little studio area that's
What'd you
set
say,
up just to film. Living room area.
A living room
What'd you
area.
say?
that?
What-
Lumeria?
I said Lumeria. It's
Yeah.
like, we're going to talk Lumeria.
What is
What
Lumeria
is
even
that?
mean? I don't even know what.
It's like an Atlantis,
Oh.
you know?
Oh,
Like a
okay, I like that.
mystical-
Well, let's go with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
I'm like, you set up Lumeria in your salon.
Hell
I'm
yeah, I
going.
did. I'm
I'm
just
going. Okay, wait. So this is fun.
Yeah.
So are you taking a model and you're doing it live?
Yeah.
AKA, can you take me?
There you go.
So are you
This is why she does
I know.
podcasts.
This
I know.
This is why she does podcasts, so she gets free things. So
Yeah,
there you
no,
go.
fair.
Right.
It's fair.
I contemplated, because this has happened before. I'll be watching a spy movie, and
Oh.
the girl has like, chopped black whatever hair. It's
Nikita.
different. So
Wait, are you-
middle of the night, I cut with sewing scissors that were like this big.
Oh?
Cut my hair off, dyed it black.
When
Like,
was this?
I don't know.
Clearly a
long time
minute ago. 'cause-
Yeah.
Was gonna do it the other night because she had short, kind of like auburny hair, and I think I'm gonna do this.
Well,
tonight.
here's you're lucky. It's Halloween tomorrow, so all you have to do is go buy a wig
I
and
know.
see what
Yeah.
it looks like
I do believe
before
in
you
that.
commit.
Yeah, I could do that.
Well, he is the expert.
But you do
I mean, you don't have to buy a wig. Just go into a Halloween
Yeah.
store, put a wig on, and be like,
Yes.
"I'm so glad I didn't do it."
Yeah, exactly.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
I'll go
It's
with you.
not as
I'll go
fun.
with
I
you.
have to do the like, why did I do that?
Yeah,
Shock factor.
yeah.
Anyway, so you do this. Like you
This is
take
great.
your model
But that's
and you're
so
doing
fun
an
that you
online
think
thing.
it this way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you can cut it however. You're an artist. I mean, one time I went in, sorry to make this about me,
No,
but one
please.
time I went in and he was really, really expensive. It was in Huntington Beach. I went down and he said, "You can't tell me what you want. I'm an
it's what
artist.
he wants. Wow.
This is what I do. I look at you. I know what's best for your look." So I paid a crap load of money for transformation of what would look best for me.
Oh.
And
Did
I
you-
walked
listen.
out looking exactly the same.
Oh.
Black hair, bangs.
No.
No, just like this.
No,
That's a
obviously
shame.
that's
Yeah.
not the look
Yeah.
that looks good on me. No,
Wow.
it was like the same color and it was just like straight, and
That's
medium.
Well,
and
that's
all.
obviously not how you. Well, so kind of going back to it, you said you had a studio with 25 people in it for years.
Yeah, do you have
What do you think? I mean,
No,
what is
I
it
don't.
about you that's kind of set you apart? Because again, obviously, she's had experiences where they tell you what
Yeah.
they want, but like, what's it like coming to you?
I mean, first of all, I think what's cool about that guy is he's found what works for him. And clearly, if he's at a price range that is
Yeah.
expensive,
Right.
Yeah.
our business, the hairdressing business, increases prices based upon supply and demand. And so you can't just be like, "Oh, I'm worth $1 million," and everyone's like, "Oh, I pay $1 million for that guy because
Yeah.
he's worth
Yeah.
$1 million." Like it's an earned rate that's based upon the intelligence of the very basic business model of supply and demand.
Right.
And so when you get certain amount of clients and you're booked in advance, you're like,
True.
"Hey, look, I can afford to lose 20% of my clientele, increasing my rates by whatever, 10%, 15, 20%, make more money doing less people. New people that come in
So true.
don't know the difference of the old
That's
price and the new
true,
price,
right.
Yeah.
validate it for what it is, and they either like your service or they
Yeah.
don't. And, it's always a revolving door. The hairdresser
Yeah.
loses 10% of clientele every year, no matter what they do. And people move, people need a change, they go through life, divorces or whatever, and they have to amount for money being spent and outgoing in a way. There's a million different reasons that people exit. But yeah, I appreciate that he's that way. I'm not that way. I'm 100% on the team. Like when a client comes in,
Right.
I want to know your lifestyle. I want to know how much time you spend on your hair. I want to learn more about your aesthetic because I feel that hair is a cog in, or an adornment of your total look.
Yeah.
It's just one more piece in it. And so I want everything to work collaboratively. And so in my world, like I have to, like I insist on learning about you. So I know that what I'm building is going to complement
It's gonna
you.
work.
That's amazing,
It's
yeah.
going to make you feel
Yeah.
confident.
Well, yeah. I
when you
mean, I
step
just
into
got a
the
haircut yesterday, and every time that you get a haircut, you feel better. You're just like, I mean, it's
And
fun.
I said this earlier before we were on camera. Your haircut looks excellent, bro.
Why,
Look
thank
at
you.
that.
Emiliano, he was on the podcast. so-
Handsome June.
Oh, barber.
Thank
What's
you.
the difference with the barber and
Oh, you
the
got a barber on here?
hairstylist?
On the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
Yeah.
So the difference of a cosmetologist and a barber
Yeah,
was it was distinguished initially, and now it's really blurry in regards to the differences of the two, which is beautiful. But initially, it was differentiated that a barber was trained on using a straight edge against somebody's face so they could give you a shave.
Right.
And that, aside from the things and requirements in a practical sense that you need to learn in cosmetology school, was really the only contrasting difference. A barber goes to school, I think for don't quote me on this. Matter of fact, if you guys do know what this is, throw it down in the comments. Yeah, a barber is somewhere around I think 400 to 500 hours.
Okay.
And again, forgive me if I'm messing up on that. A cosmetologist traditionally, for decades, was 1,600 total hours. They've recently in California, and it's state mandated uniquely, but in California, they've dropped it down to, I think, 1,100 hours now. But in that 1,100 hours, you also learn how to be an esthetician. You also learn manicuring and pedicuring.
You do?
And then you learn everything from like hair color to perming, because we do so many perms. And
That should come
then
back.
all these other sorts of things.
You
What's
should
that?
get a perm.
That
They
should
are
come
back. I gave my son a perm
Yeah.
in November for the first time since I was in cosmetology school.
Really?
Yeah, and I was reading the instructions because I didn't know.
Yeah.
The
Like I'd done
smell,
it in
did
like.
bring back memories, the smell of the perm.
Yeah.
It's not as pungent as it was.
not.
Like
Oh, a different
it was
formula?
like straight sulfur smell back in the day.
Dang,
Remember?
Yeah, it was bad.
And it's not as bad, but it's not.
Wow.
Can you get a tight
I mean,
perm?
we're-
Just get a tight perm.
I would do-
Amazing. Really?
Listen,
Like
I'm in a
straight from?
transition
Yeah.
period right
That'd be
now
amazing.
of a
Dude,
new
yeah.
identity.
Let's do this.
What's
Let's
that?
new identity.
Okay.
Yeah,
You won't
I
even
think you
know
both
who
could
we
have
are.
fros. You could have a blonde
tried.
fro because a blonde
No.
fro would just be
Well,
phenomenal.
no, but here's the thing. I tried. So in
that
college, I wanted an afro.
Yeah.
I had really short hair. I was like, oh, so I went to my stylist and gave me a perm. Didn't turn out. Asians shouldn't get perms or
This is his picture for
yeah. There you go.
my
That's
phone.
you?
That's me.
This is a wig.
When is this?
Blonde.
When was that?
You-
No, June.
You
That
look
was
like you're
in
like
June.
22 in that picture.
Wow.
it was in
thank you.
June.
June.
June was in June.
Yeah, June.
And he's
June and
got a
June?
blonde wig on.
Yeah.
Wow.
that'd be
How
me.
young does he look right there? That's crazy.
Yeah, you do. See, maybe you should go blonde.
Okay.
I don't know.
Next episode.
And to be
Oh.
honest,
70 to
perms
50.
in Asian countries are massive right now. Like a lot,
Really?
yeah.
Really?
The
Okay.
Japanese are doing all kinds of
Really?
crazy perms
Wow.
and all kinds of stuff.
what do you
Koreans are doing
like
all
doing?
kinds of perms right now.
What do you like doing the most?
I like cutting more than anything.
Cutting?
I color and cut both.
Okay.
Oh, but cosmetology and barbering.
Yeah.
Now barbering has absolutely exploded over the last, I'd say maybe 10 years. And now barbers are wanting to learn Cosmo work.
Oh.
And Cosmos are wanting to know how to do, everything from
really?
skin fade to a
Right.
taper
Yeah.
and all the above. So yeah, it's kind of, at some point I think they're going to just throw straight edge razoring into the cosmetology industry and everyone will just do one program.
So-
Which makes more sense monetarily to manage
Yeah,
one
sure.
program
Seems
versus
like
two
it.
different things.
So the barber, I always thought that it was just that they didn't color, or I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's funny too. And I work with a barbering company called Statement Grooming, which is owned by Hinkle. And they have hired me to teach their team long hair. Every
Oh.
barber would look at your hair and be like, I don't know how to do long hair.
Right. They
And
don't
the
have
funny
clippers.
thing is like, have you ever walked into a spider web and you're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, it's like all over you, and you're like, I cussed, sorry.
Yeah.
And you're like trying to get it off you.
Yeah.
This is a barber with long hair. As soon as they
Really?
like touch long hair, they're like, it's like
Really?
taffy.
They
They're
don't
like,
Right.
they don't know what to do with it.
Really?
And because they've never been trained on it. And so we have to sit down with them. But a barber, like if I taught a cosmetology student in school or just out of school, a long layered haircut like yours, and I had a barber and I was doing like a 2-person course, the barber would probably take 2.5 hours to do that haircut.
Oh.
Whereas the student, and he could be a barber that's been doing barbering for 15 years.
Yeah.
The student in school or just out of
Brand
school
new.
would knock it out within an hour.
Really?
Really?
Like it's a real foreign thing for barbers to start to work with anything longer than maybe 4 to 5 inches.
Huh.
That's kind of true. Everyone that comes
That's
into
so cool.
Which is
Getting a
beautiful for me.
barbershop is
It's beautiful
short
for me
hair.
because it's a huge demographic for us to
Yeah,
target.
it is.
Yeah,
That's
for
awesome.
sure. Yeah.
Teaching.
Yeah.
So have you always, because it sounds like you have a passion for teaching and you're good at it. Like at what point were you like, I enjoy teaching, I want to teach? Like,
That's a brilliant question. I didn't want to teach. I do want to teach now. I want to teach more than actually working behind the chair. But yeah, no, I was very much an introvert growing up. My mom was very introverted, still very introverted.
Wow.
And so I think in a lot of ways, I put her introvert suit on. And then as soon as I became an adult and started walking into the world and without her there, I started to realize maybe I wasn't as much of an introvert as I thought I was. And it maybe wasn't ingrained into my core. It was just a skin that I needed to peel. And that's a weird way to say that.
I'm like,
that's, yeah.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. It's back to spy
We
movies.
won't edit that out.
I'm still on the fact that you said his question was brilliant.
You're like, well, all right.
He's never
Yeah.
said anything
No,
brilliant.
yeah,
You're like,
no.
what was his brilliant
So
question again?
interesting. Okay, now back.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Sorry.
Wait till you get
No, I think that sometimes, based upon a contextual environment that we hang out in long enough, we start to think that that's who we are, and
True.
things stick to us magnetically. And as soon as we start to realize that it's just a patch, it's just something that's sort of stuck to us, that if we take it off, we realize that it's not permanent. And the world kept telling me to get in front of others and tell them what it was that I was creatively building. And I would be the kid that I would get cotton mouth, and I would get nervous, and I would freaking sweat and like full pit it out, and I would be so nervous. And I always thought that I wasn't smart enough to get in front of people, and that the instructor or facilitator or coach in front of everyone has all the answers. And so I really pinned myself in this corner between I'm an introvert and I don't have all the answers. And so when the world kept asking me to do it, I was really insecure about it. But it happened consistently enough that all of a sudden at one moment I was like, okay, well maybe I just need to have a little moment to break up with myself, to reinvent my new self.
Wow, that's...
And an epiphany started to develop where I was like, okay, like that was then, this is now, and change is uncomfortable. And I'm okay with uncomfortable. So get comfortable with discomfort. Figure out who you really are.
We talk about that all the
supposed to
time.
be,
That's amazing.
and that will define your purpose in life.
And
so I just got chills for myself. Like that's crazy.
I have the chills.
That's a reel right there. That's a reel right there. That was perfect.
That was a reel.
That
was great.
But there was a moment that specifically transpired to it that I think was the final straw to confirm that direction. And one of my buddies asked me to teach for a company called TG, also known as Tony and Guy.
Yeah.
And so I went to their, what's it called? Not an interview, where they're kind of recruiting a bunch of new people. It would be called, like an interview, I guess.
Yeah.
And they gave you a script, and it was the script on blow drying hair. And step one, comb through the hair. Step two, spray it with this stuff. Step three, turn the blow dryer on. And it was this whole like step-by-step process, like an instructional sort of thing. And I got up in front of everybody, and I'm like freaking reading this thing, and then I'm working with a mannequin, and I'm like combing through it, and I'm trying to repeat what I'm saying, and I'm like shaking, and in that moment, I would have rather, like, speaking of skin, like pull my skin off and like bleed to death. Like I was mortified. And it was so torturous, I think, for everybody to watch me, including my buddy that owned the Academy and Distribution Channel, that he's like, Trav, put the script down and just tell us about a blow dry that you did last week. And I was like, well, I blew dry Sue's hair, and, I did this and I did that. And I was still nervous, but I had some sense of fluid, ability to kind of deliver this dialogue. And everybody's all, yeah, like screaming it. I mean, it was total shit. But at the same time, everybody was just like, dude, that was amazing. And Mosin said to me, he goes, Travis, it's not about being smarter than everybody in the room. It's about sharing your story that's led you to this moment. And a great story always intrigues people, and it always engages an audience. And if you're a storyteller, you will always have an audience.
It's huge. Yes, absolutely.
What is happening right now with these bombs you're dropping?
This is great. Well, he's a veteran.
You're a
He's done it.
veteran.
He's
But
done
this
it.
is the
There it is.
I'm sweating.
I'm sweating.
I'm so nervous.
Hey, when we edit this, we're going to put a circle around it.
With a red arrow.
But this is the thing. I mean, I think what's amazing is to say that's what you were.
Yeah.
You had to sit in the uncomfortable spot. You took the chance forward, and now now you're a seasoned pro. I mean, it gives everybody just a thought of maybe my weakness actually can become a strength.
It becomes your superpower.
It does.
When something's a natural gift, it gets you to a certain point.
Yeah.
But if you're playing at the highest level, if it gets you to a certain point, then there's no development from there. And so you have to really start to understand what came innately, which is starting from the bottom and learning the basics, and then building up past natural to being the greatest, right?
Yeah, wow.
But when something that you totally suck at, or you're totally emotionally insecure with, you're forced to start at the bottom, because you got to deal with the demons, and you got to deal with the bottom of the pile, and you got to clear out all the trash. And then you got to start with like a clean step forward.
Yeah.
And at that point, you really have to own every bit of it. And in that becomes a million stories, right? It's a timeline of development. And I think it again, to that point of like what we think we're worst at can become our greatest superpower, if not define your reason. And I've always felt like I've got two purposes to define on the planet. What is my personal purpose and what is my professional purpose? And how can I belong to it? And with my level of psychotic commitment to things, which is truly unparalleled and crazy, like I'm a maniac and my own worst enemy, and I need to define my balance unique to everybody else because it is different, and I can't compare it. Yeah, it's about, how do we get to really feeling complete on a daily level based upon living our purpose and it becoming our superpower.
This is amazing.
So,
this is exactly what the heart of the matter is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really getting people to understand, again, step out of what you're comfortable with, and I love what you're saying, everything you're saying. This is what makes you a great teacher and great at what you do.
Thanks, June. Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm blessed, right? Like it's, the sooner you can find it, and life experiences take you to it. It's a sense of awareness that allows you to see it, but life experiences take you to it.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, am I going to ignore that because it's more comfortable to ignore it, or am I going to face it? But the sooner that you can face it, the sooner that you can start to define these things. And I used to always think like, why am I not as wealthy as this person? And why am I not as accomplished as that? And why don't I have this many followers on social media? And, the reality is it's not my time. I'm not mature enough to handle that at this time in my life. And where I'm at is where I'm supposed to be. And defining my purpose on a daily level is who I am. And anything else is me comparing, and that's not necessary.
Really wise.
So good. Okay, so what's your work purpose?
Oh, I have no idea.
Well,
Whoa, that's a brilliant question too.
Yeah, you just called them out.
No, it's really defined at this point. When I was a hairdresser, my greatest purpose was to accept the fact or realize that I was in the business of self-esteem, and it was to make people feel confident, as we were talking about earlier, while they stepped from my chair into the world. That was one thing. Like, you have a great outfit on and you feel good, right?
Yeah.
When you step out, or you have a shit outfit on and you're like, oh, don't look at me like I'm just like running errands today. You defend it immediately. If I can build a haircut that makes somebody feel that sense of confidence without doing anything, it doesn't matter how they're dressed. Like, they feel sexy, they feel confident, they feel handsome, or they just feel good, they feel cool, whatever that might be to them. And so that was my defined sort of thing when I was more of a hairdresser than an educator. Now I would say 80% of my life is spent on my school. And so my greatest purpose is to help other hairdressers define the technical approach to cutting, the architectural science and the physics to cutting, so that they can focus the mechanics of that, focus on that being something that runs in the background and deliver self-esteem. So if I can teach you how to build any haircut, defining what somebody's showing you a picture of, breaking it down, constructing it, and then you at the same time now just run an autopilot with that and can focus on the interpersonal skills with the client and building their self-esteem. Like, my God, if we could build an army of stylists that thought and worked like this, we would have a world of people that feel more confident. And we're living in a time right now, I think, in general with history, where people feel insecure. We judge ourselves in a really
Especially with
radical
social media.
way.
Absolutely.
Social media has smashed us in this way.
especially in the business world of social media, because you think that so many people already know more than you do. So it could be a passion of yours and a mission of yours. I'm speaking for myself, where I'm like, yeah, but someone's already speaking on that. Yes, I would love to speak on that, but somebody already is, or it's saturated, or what am I, when they've already achieved it.
But I love what you said, though. It's each person, like you, they may already be talking about it, but they haven't told your story. It's your story. I love.
Think about it in this sense, in a sense of comparison as well. Like, if I was to take Spanish 101, it is what it is, right? This word means that word. So how a teacher teaches it, you've got a great teacher or you got a crap teacher, right? Same content. But the delivery is everything. So how you say it in your way allows your audience to connect to you, right?
So true.
That's amazing.
They either connect with you or they don't. It's not always the information. It's who you are and the energy out.
That's amazing. So I know you have your academy. It's online. So is it groups that are kind of looking and studying, or is it one-on-one? Like, how are you?
It's D. It's all the above.
Okay.
We, for the first few years, focused on location training. So it was focused on the individual stylist, and it was me marketing our content primarily in the U.S. because that we could captivate, hopefully we captivated, but that way we could connect with an audience that could get to us in a realistic sense.
Gotcha.
Traveling across the country. In 2020, we started to do the live online so we could start to expand outside of the U.S. Or if somebody couldn't make it to us because it's quite a bit cheaper not to make it to San Diego and pay for a hotel, flight, food, all the things, miss work. If we could do it live online, you could take it from anywhere in the country or outside of the country. And then our e-learning, our video versions of the same content allowed us to do it in a way where you might be a learner where you need to listen to something two or three times,
right?
And or you may need to pause.
Nice.
And I'm a slow learner, and so for me, that asset that we could offer was critical because that's the way I learn best as well. And so for the person that wants to kind of think about education, if they learn like a crock pot cook something, where they got to think about it and stew over it, maybe watch it a few times, that gives us the opportunity to not only expand outside of the US to other countries and even do it in different languages with closed captions as well.
Amazing.
But it allows it to really connect with any type of learner that you are.
What is it called?
It's called Hairdressing Made Easy.
Oh.
And then the academy that we facilitate everything out of is Travis Parker Academy. And so when it's on location at my space, you're coming to Travis Parker Academy. All of our content is Hairdressing Made Easy. And so the system itself is a 3-pillared system that we title as Coding Course 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
You have to take them in order. So regardless of whether, and back to your question, regardless of whether you're an individual or say I'm working with a brand,
Right.
and regardless of whether you've been doing hair for 5 minutes or 50 years or more, you still have to come back to the first
that's
pillar
great.
because the
Okay.
first pillar teaches you. Maybe think about it in this way. If I can teach you another language, but that language is built upon very basic things. Let's just say letters to begin with, and there's X amount of letters in that alphabet. Those letters, if you put them together in a certain way, start to form words. Those words start to build sentences. That's a paragraph later on. That's a story later on, and that starts to tell something. And so if you didn't understand the language to begin with, and let's just say you were that natural talent that we were talking about earlier, and you just were like, yeah, well, I can see, like, you'd look great with bangs. And you're like, well, do you know how to cut hair? And you're like, no, but I can cut your hair shorter, watch. You know what I mean? You may be able to do it, technically not understanding what you were doing, and get to a certain level in your life. And certainly with social media, if you position yourself well and you have a sense of likability on camera or in social, you can become actually really popular and famous and not really know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And trust me, like there is a lot of fluff out there where people seem like they're the real deal.
Sure.
And they really struggle with understanding how to explain their natural talent because they're like, I don't know, I just do it. You just kind of cut it. And you're like, well, June could have told you that. He doesn't cut hair.
Yeah.
And so, for us, you always have to start at the first level because that's us explaining the language,
Right.
your body position in relationship to every section that you're working on throughout the haircut, on and on and on and on and on. And then we start to build up to maybe where your natural aesthetic is. And then we start to take you from there. And then we have trend-based classes as well that are live online.
Oh, good.
And then I do quite a bit of public speaking at different trade shows and events and things like that where I'm on stage and we would talk to an audience and inspiring through that. And if they're inspired by that, hopefully that leads them back to, our product and our content and
Absolutely.
going through our process.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
But
Good.
So you're saying, and excuse the ignorance on this, so if they were to go to hair school, is this in place of hair school or additional training on top of hair school?
That's a brilliant question.
There you go. Brilliant.
I got it.
I'm going to give you just threw it up and now I'm hanging.
Yeah.
You immediately looked at him. You're like competition.
Yeah, I'm not. No.
He doesn't. He's in competition
Yeah,
with you. I'll give you a high five. I'm your cheerleader.
Thank you. So that brilliant question that I just posed.
Hey, can you believe we have 336 members now of the group?
I know. Crazy
growing
how
so much.
fast that was actually in a
Let's
year.
celebrate.
Okay, you're always wanting, look at that. Look how quick he is to celebrate.
Well, we have to celebrate.
What are you looking for though?
For that corkscrew.
Tune. Los Cuernos. No corkscrew needed. What do you want? You want a rosé? Red. Another red. But you want Chardonnay, I'm sure.
Chardonnay, just
Pop that open.
The answer is no, it doesn't
Okay.
take place.
Okay.
So every state has their own amount of hours and practical applications that you have to have, and that's state by state mandated. The federal government says, okay, look, you can use this content or that content in your school, regardless of how many hours you require. You have to either use a brand called Pivot Point or Milady, and that is overseen by the federal government. How
Wow.
those two companies that were developed back in the I
Got
think
it.
one in the 30s and one in the 50s
Wow.
got that deal. Like they were
Right.
stoked.
Yeah.
But they did. And so where my content would, and this is what we're positioning with schools, and based on a call that I had yesterday, this would be my second school that we're starting to instill our content into, is using it as an upsell to recruit students that says, hey, look, we are going to teach you the basics that you need to have to go through state board, get your license. But what makes our school different and our point of difference is that we have this advanced training program of hairdressing made easy from Travis Parker. And so we would come in and train their educators on all three pillars of our program so that they understand it comprehensively from start to end. The first pillar would be the only pillar that would be offered in the cosmetology school, that when the school gets advanced students that sign up for this advanced program, take it, they graduate with their license plus certified in our first pillar.
Wow.
And then
amazing.
what I'm trying to build right now and working on building is salons around schools that are certified salons under all three pillars of our methodology. So there's a lateral motion between the student to the salon.
Yeah.
So they speak the same language, they have the same architectural approach and physical approach to
amazing.
cutting. And it's really at that point, like, do you complement our vibe? Like, do you fit in? Do we like you? Is it a good fit? Period. And so we're trying to figure it out so that it's almost sort of, it's a placement situation.
That's
how it would
incredible.
work
That's
with
really
school.
great.
But you can't take my program and
say
say you have
get
a license
licensed.
or
Yeah.
show
Right.
that you have a license. You
Yeah.
can take my program and probably be better than a lot of hairdressers
Sure.
that say went through just a school that wasn't very good or didn't have content as thorough. You could probably take it, not have a license, and still be a badass,
Sure.
cutting hair, because it legit teaches you what you need to know. But it doesn't give
So
an official license.
does that frustrate you in a way where you're like, wow, that license means what? When you have something that actually is teaching thoroughly. And it seems like nowadays it's like, where does that license hold up? If you were to go, if you were to be in, say you were doing it out of your home and you were just doing it to friends and family, is that illegal? You can't do that?
I mean, I don't think the cops are going to break in and arrest you. I've never heard that. That would be a fascinating
They
story.
might after this
Yeah.
episode comes out.
Because I kind of want to
We need to maybe make a
Oh,
commercial
really?
of that,
Oh.
I think.
Yeah.
all of a sudden, this is the problem with doing podcasts.
Like full
on
SWAT team breaks your
businesses.
door down,
Yeah,
takes you
yeah.
down.
Now you want to do this, don't you?
I want to do whatever the person's speaking on,
Right.
and all of a sudden I'm like, I want to be that. I want to do that. But actually, for sure. I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's so fascinating. I know there's a barber chair in my car right now.
Shut up!
actually.
A
Yes.
barber chair
She
is
drives
not
around.
small.
She
It's
drives
in my
around.
car.
Yeah,
Because my boys love cutting people's hair. So every time someone comes over, they sit them there and they go to town on the person's hair.
Okay.
And I keep telling them, like, you should do this.
I've never heard of this in my whole life.
So
right?
anyway,
Yeah.
my parents.
Well, so having said that, are you finding there's a certain type of individual that does sign up that
Yeah.
wants that improvement, or is it like they've gone 5 years in the business and they want to kind of, increase their skill level? Like,
I mean, it's another great question.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's okay.
it's not brilliant. I mean, yours was
It's
brilliant.
not brilliant.
I mean,
but
his
it's all
first
right.
one was over the top.
Brilliant and a half. So I'm up by half.
Do we need a rating scale, like
Yeah,
0
we
through
are.
10
We are.
questions?
We're gonna the bar editor put a scale. All right.
Yeah, that would
Yes,
be.
a
That
little
would be.
input.
Yes.
One.
For each
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
For each episode.
Who won?
With some audio behind it, of people clapping.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
really
Blue
good.
Katie barbershop one, I would have lost because I didn't
You
Yeah.
kind of would have lost on that
I'd
one.
been sleeping.
It was
Yeah.
entertaining to watch you.
Yeah.
does.
Well,
but-
and can I give you guys a plug again?
yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys haven't already subscribed, because this is quality, subscribe now so you get notified on all the future videos that are coming out.
That's right.
19 won't be as good as 18 because I won't be on
Right.
19
Look
unless
at
they bring me
that.
back part 2.
If you're
Spotify,
cutting my hair, it will bring
YouTube.
everybody back.
That's right. That's right.
Let's
no,
go
no.
bold.
And don't forget thumbs up.
Let's
Give
go
us a thumbs up.
bold.
Share it with your friends.
Let's go
Yes.
even more bold. Let me take your course without getting licensed. Let me cut her hair for learning what I learned.
I would actually do
Yes,
that.
let's
I
do
would
that.
do that.
All right.
So dope.
Let's do it.
Yeah. You just have to wake up at
idea.
1 o'clock now.
Sure. Yeah. There you go.
Practice. I would do that.
Bowl cut.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, from the data that we've created or collected, I should say, we find that hairdressers usually try to wing it for the first 5 to 10 years of their career.
Wow.
And within that 10 years, they either go, I hate this job, I hate people,
Yeah.
my boss is taking all my money, my back hurts, and I'm out. Or they get to a point where they're like, okay, I'm sick of feeling insecure and unsure of what it is that I'm doing, and I really want to be a good hairdresser. And winging it is not the answer.
Right.
And at that point, they're like, okay, I need to figure out what program out there kind of complements me and who I connect with so I can go learn from them
Yeah.
to understand how to build my artistry with a sense of predictability and less stress so I can make more money and have more of a robust career. So,
Right.
yeah, we find that, I mean, for kids that go, or for people that go to school, cosmetology school, and get out of school and they're like, I thought I was going to learn all this stuff, and I really didn't learn anything. I learned how to pass my test, but I really don't understand what it is that I'm
right.
doing. For that person to come right out of the gate, couldn't be a better decision.
Yeah,
Like that's
okay.
like nail on the head. Starting up your career with the right step, with the right momentum, understanding what you're doing just allows you, what you're doing allows you to build your, your everything that much faster because you understand it. But yeah, that doesn't always seem to be the program. We kind of, the gate opens and we just start running.
Sure.
And then we just pile it face first into the dirt. And then we
Yeah,
just get up and
yeah.
keep running again. And then
Yeah.
at some point you're like,
scary.
my face really hurts from like eating, crap. And so you, at that moment, you either like kind of look around left and right and you're like, okay, like now that I'm just stable and still for a second, what am I going to do that puts that next foot forward?
Right.
And at that point, you either decide to jump in or jump out.
Wow.
Sadly, we're seeing more and more hairdressers jump out sooner than
Really?
ever before.
Why,
yeah,
do you think?
social media. Social media is sort of the demise of the invested hairdresser. And with bite-sized pieces through social media of haircuts and color, you aren't really learning the why somebody's doing what they're doing. You're seeing what they're doing, and then you may go try to copy it, but to see what they're doing in a 2-hour process or an hour-long process in anywhere from 5 seconds to maybe a minute, you're really seeing the best parts, edited
Yeah.
in that are visual. But the best parts that actually teach you why they're doing what they're doing are edited out because a lot of the theory is boring to see on social media. We don't want to. If I gave you an option, here I'll just give you an example. If I gave you an option to be entertained or to go study, what would you choose?
Yeah.
Right.
You'd be
Yeah.
choosing entertainment left and right every single time. And for our young audiences that have only grown up with social media, and we've got 2 different audiences right now. We've got the audience that grew up without social media,
Yeah.
that's inherited it, and we've got the audience that's only grown up with social media that doesn't know anything else.
Right.
Our attention span in every category, in
Sure.
every discipline, is becoming less and less. Yeah, it's becoming shorter. And that's no exception in the hair industry. And so for a stylist, the average person that is on social media just wants to be entertained by it. They try to copy it. They don't really understand what they're doing. And if they've got some grit and integrity sort of embedded into who they are as a person that maybe mom and dad helped to embed, then they may go, okay, like I can't learn everything on social media and I need to dive a little bit deeper and separate the fact that learning something is helping me grow myself as a human and as a professional. Entertainment is the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Like that's what I get to do during breaks.
Yeah.
When I'm not making money or investing in my process to make more money in the long haul and the long term. And so, yeah, I mean, what my greatest hope is that we can lure people in through social media, through the entertainment that I put out there.
Right.
Because when I put education out there, those are our videos that
Right.
do the worst. When we put entertainment videos out there,
Those go viral.
we crush it. Yeah, we
Yeah.
have 2 videos right now that are over 2 million views
That's awesome.
that are truly just like silly entertainment type of stuff. And we realize that broadens the market, but we also realize that when you're flipping through your phone, if something's funny and entertaining, you're gonna stop for a second and watch it. If somebody's
Yeah.
talking about, you want to, based upon taking a subsection from the parietal ridge to the mastoid process, you're going to elevate the hair at 90 degrees, standing stationary at 6 o'clock. People are like, next.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, but who knew so
Yeah.
much went into that?
I know,
I mean,
yeah.
I think that's so fascinating where I'm like, wow, it really, I've known it's an art, but it's a science,
It is.
I just think it's fascinating that there's, like you said, architecture.
Yeah, think about going to architecture school.
Yeah.
Think about this building right now. Is there a garage underneath us or anything above
No.
us?
Oh, no, actually, there is a garage. What am I talking
Okay,
about? Yeah,
so
there is a garage.
when they built this building, some architect sat there in CAD, which is the software that you use to build 3D renderings for architectural structures, and they had to build the physics, or they had to know the physics involved with building a 2-level building, 1 subterranean floor, 1 floor, above that. So that when we're sitting here right now, we don't fall through the floor to the next level. Like there's
Right.
all sorts of physics that go into the architectural build of something
Yeah.
3-dimensional. With hair, we're dealing with a medium that's 3-dimensional, somebody's head. There's vertical aspects to it. There's horizontal aspects to it. Transitional
So
points,
Right.
convex areas in the back of the head,
Wow.
concave areas in the back
And
of the head.
the facial
and then valuable
shape.
fibers. So instead of demising walls or
Yeah.
pillars like this right here that hold this whole structure up, and that's probably what's inside that wall right there, is some freaking I-beam in there that holds the level above us together so it doesn't fall in. For us, ours are in motion.
Sure, yeah.
And so in a
That
lot of
is
ways, it's
so
quite complicated
Wow.
because you are having to build a sustainable shape that if somebody doesn't know what they're doing with a blow dryer, the shape is in form with doing nothing. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
there's quite a bit of physics.
Yeah, having said that, Susan, you can't just pick up,
Well,
like-
with that being said,
I mean, you can.
You can.
You
but-
can. You can cut,
I-
anybody can cut anything shorter.
yeah, but you just didn't, you have no idea.
Yeah,
I wish
it's
I would
detailed.
have known. I just wish I would have known we would have been, with a hairdresser today. Thanks for
Oh,
that
yeah.
heads up.
Got her.
You should have said, okay, I'm not going to give you any
Another
hints,
point.
but make yourself
Yeah,
make
another
yourself
point.
really
Yeah,
extra cute
didn't
today.
do that.
There's another
This
point.
is
I
like
think you
Well,
look
that's why I
fabulous.
got a
4
haircut.
days of no shower.
I got a haircut just to make sure.
but no
Yeah, he
hair.
got a haircut,
Yeah,
but he didn't
good.
tell you.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so a little bit embarrassed on this whole front, but I will say, this week, I'm not kidding. I'm like, I just need a good cut. I can go short to be healthy. Let's just do a good cut. So
You would look great with a couple
Guess
little
who's
like a
coming.
curtain fringe that sort of whips off the side of your
Oh.
cheekbones,
I'm
and
down
something
for
kind
that.
of in through here that whips
Hide
off.
some
Maybe
of the
even a couple little
wrinkles.
pieces of
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, free Botox.
See?
I know.
Yeah.
That's,
Not that I've done Botox yet. We need a Botox person on here
That-
next.
Yeah,
Two
I'll
Because
be
who
a-
knows? I'll be
a-
doing it
there you
at
go.
night.
I'll be a volunteer
myself.
for the getting the Botox. Yeah.
No, I really do. I think it's so fascinating, and I would love to go.
Yeah.
And I love that you're on Cedros.
Yeah, it's great.
That's
it's a beautiful
super
spot.
convenient.
Yeah, it's a
I
beautiful
love
it.
spot. So then, like
do you
looking
have
at
other-
that.
Sorry.
Oh, that's
sorry.
okay. Looking at that, when you look at
Both
somebody.
brilliant questions.
Yeah,
Yeah,
brilliant.
I know,
Not-
I
yeah,
know.
but I'm
Yeah,
up by
exactly.
the way. I'm up by the way.
Yeah, who's winning right now?
I'm
You are?
winning. Nope, I'm winning.
All right.
But so like when you see someone's face, you kind of naturally just have that
Yeah,
gift and
do you
ability to
see
be able
that?
to see. Oh, that's what would look good on her, or like.
Yeah, I
In
mean, I'll
color.
teach you guys. Want to learn how to
And
do it
color.
right now? Like
Yeah.
really easy?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Straightforward?
yes,
Yes.
All right, cool. So, and you're going to be like, it's literally the dumbest thing I could have heard right now, and it's total common sense.
That's okay.
So if somebody's face is more narrow,
Okay.
and we
Is
want to give
mine
it the
narrow? It feels swollen right now. So would this be considered no narrow or puffy round? Which one?
two opposites,
I
right?
may or
Yeah.
may not have had a Happy Meal last night at 11.
So am I a pencil or a cream puff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so narrow face.
Okay, so actually, let me back up even further. So objectively, what history tells us is that the picture perfect shape of a face is an oval shape. So
Okay.
if you have an egg and it sits down, it's a little bit wider at the bottom, right? The top's a bit more narrow. If you flip that over, that's really a perfect oval. So an egg
Oh.
sort of flipped over
Okay.
would be the ideal textbook.
Okay.
And I don't know who wrote it. Textbook face of proportion or proportion? Proportion.
Yeah.
Yeah, equal proportions. And what you're looking at is the distance between the top of the hairline
I'm all measuring.
and just above the cheekbone here.
Okay.
You measure that distance down from the cheekbone to the jawline, transition the hand from the jawline to the chin. And that should break the face into equal third portions.
Okay.
Okay, so that's basic. Okay, so now I'm gonna get into the real common sense stuff, and you're gonna be like, aha. So now back to what I said earlier. If you have a narrow face, your objective is to make it wider, right? So it's more like an oval shaped face. If you've got a wider face,
that's the
you want to
goal.
make it more narrow, like an oval shaped face.
Wow.
Now, that's straightforward, right? Super simple. If you've got a really high forehead that comes way back in through here, covering the first third of your face so it doesn't show where your hairline starts is probably a good decision, because then you don't see that equal third portion isn't equal and it's bigger on somebody than, say, an oval shaped face. So you cover it with fringe, or fringe long enough that you can't see through the hair, you can't see through the hairline there. And so you don't know where the hairline starts or stops. If somebody's got a really narrow forehead, you might want to make the same decision, because again, where that proportion is off, you want to sort of hide it so you see the equal proportions underneath, and then your eye just imagines that's symmetrical.
It's art and science together. Wow.
Yeah, it's just basic. Yeah, I don't know what that's.
Well, what
Math.
what kind of
It's math.
Geometry.
Math.
What is that?
I don't know. But are we? What kind of? Let me see. That's videographer Nathan. Homeschool.
Yeah.
I homeschool.
Yes.
101.
What kind of face do I have? Is it oval?
I mean, first of all, it's a good face.
Oh,
You
thank
got a
you.
great face.
Thank
What
you.
is it?
What is it though? It's not because it's not egg shaped, right? It's not egg shaped.
You know what I love about your face is,
Oh,
and this
start with
is
compliment.
And then it's gonna go down from here. It's gonna go down from here.
Consultation 101.
It's gonna go
All
down.
you remember
It'll
is
be
the
good now.
first
Yeah.
words. So
Oh, you're good. He's good. All right.
Yeah, so what you got is protruding cheekbones. You want your cheekbones to be wider than your jawline or your temples.
Okay.
And so that's super good.
Really?
If your jawline is wider than your temple region or the region between your cheekbones and the top of your forehead, you want to fill in positive space here so it doesn't give you what would be considered a triangular face. So kind of narrow up here, goes wider down here. So you want to counterbalance the width down here. So as much as your fade is super clean, and they did legit did an amazing job. But here, look over here at us real quick.
Okay.
So if I took length right in here, look straight like right there.
Right.
If I took length right in through here from his jawline and built a little bit more length in there and filled in this area here, then I would take my hand from here down through here, and it wouldn't make the top of his head seem more narrow. It would give it symmetry up and through the higher portion of the head. It would fill in the negative space.
I'm changing my hair.
narrow.
Emiliano, I'm changing my hair.
We're
And so
gonna
even
look
if
so
you took
different.
even if you took a tight fade right above the ear, or
Yeah.
even if you took it down to the skin right above the ear, when it tapers
But to
from
come out
where
more.
the brow is here, when
Yeah.
it tapers from there to the transition, what's
I
called
like
the
it.
parietal ridge of the head, to the top of the head, that builds out in a continuation of a little bit more length.
Really?
And so right
Okay.
now it sort of is tight here, and then it almost kind of bends
Yeah,
in.
right.
At the,
It's like
so see right
Bert
here, look at the
Ernie.
camera.
Which one's
right
that?
there.
Which one's that one? That's
So-
what I'm picturing the way he's
Yeah, so for
describing it.
all of us, so see how it's tight right here, and then right here, see how his haircut's cut in like this?
Yeah.
So if we built that out just a little bit, and that negative space between my hands and the shortest length here was just a little bit longer, we wouldn't see that contoured
changing
edge
my
right
hair.
there, that contoured shape right there. And that would help to fill it in and give balance to the lower half of his face that much more.
This is amazing.
Who's brilliant
yes.
now?
Oh, yes.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
You're brilliant.
Okay,
You
so
win.
when you said to do more shaggy, what's that covering up? My wrinkles.
the thing, I mean, first of all, I'd like to bring your cheekbones out a little
Okay,
bit.
yeah,
There you
Like,
go.
I
How
think
do
it
we
would
do
be
that?
really stunning on you to show attention to it. And then if we could draw attention to your cheekbones, our eye's attention is going from your chin through your cheekbones and out. And that's going to give your face a lift. And everybody likes a good lift in every sense, right? So if we take your fringe, here, take a picture on your phone real quick of your face. So I can show
Like
you.
a
is great.
selfie?
Yeah.
Do I smile? Okay.
Yeah, and keep, you just look at your phone
Okay,
here.
okay.
So, and at the same time, let's see. If I could take this, and I'll show the camera, you guys, in just a sec. See how this is like a C shape and it moves off your forehead?
Mm-hmm.
What if we took that and reversed it so it moved this way? So as it's draping away from your face,
It's not so
it
much
drapes over your
forehead.
face. So
Yes.
all this for us, if we took this fringe and pulled it like this, then
Oh,
it drapes
hey,
over the
right away.
forehead and off
looks
your
great right
cheekbone
there.
right here, which draws the eye's attention to your cheekbone.
That's
With
great.
this moving like this, we see all of this positive space up and through here. So if I covered that,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, now wait, do
if
that
I
again and
covered
take
this,
a selfie with that because it
and
does look good.
then, yeah, put my finger over there. Then it brings your eye's attention right to your cheekbone,
Oh my
which brings your
gosh.
cheekbone out wider,
Genius.
and that gives you more of an oval shape.
That's
What
genius.
in the, okay, I'm taking
That's
a picture
crazy.
of
Her
the
nickname growing up
swoop.
was
So-
forehead
Of
too.
the
So
swoop.
So, you know, something kind of more like that. And then let me see if I can pull this off with both sides.
Yes.
What?
genius. Natron, you want in?
Oh my
You want
gosh,
to
look what
analyze
he
you?
just did.
Right?
Just like that.
This is so exciting.
You like that?
This is
I'm
great.
coming to you, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then
Yeah, keep going,
here's
keep
here's
going.
our last thing, and this is a good one for everybody because this is something that you can change right away. If you part your hair down the center of your forehead, or you split the left and the right side symmetrically, you know, center part, it's going to draw the eye's attention to the nose and the chin.
Oh, don't want
So
that.
if you got a really large nose
Yeah.
or you got a long chin, you want to avoid a center part and
I
you
do,
want
I
to
have
do a
a skin
side
slope.
part. A side part is going to expose
Oh.
hair that. So when I go a center part, it drapes the face. All the hair's hanging closer to my face. If I take one side and I throw it over here, the hair that would be hanging over my face is now coming over my head to this side, which opens up the face more. So a side part draws width to the face, and a center part closes the face. And it's almost like curtains that would hang straight down. The more I start to open up the curtains, the more I expose the face. The more I close the curtains, the more I start to make the face more narrow.
Wow.
So on a rounder face or a wider face, a center part usually is pretty
You
good
want that.
because it draws the eye's attention to the center of the face, and what you can't see, you start to make up what's there, and usually you're going to default to symmetry and symmetrical, nature. If we get a narrow face, you want to expose the width of the face as much as possible. So either a fringe that cuts off anything that would be hanging over the cheekbones or the jawline, or a side part that starts to expose at least one side of the face.
Wow.
This is great.
This
You've been
is
holding out.
so
How long have we been neighbors? You've been
fascinating.
holding out. You've let me walk around with this haircut for, I mean,
He's like, wow.
you could have,
No.
yeah.
But so color though, do you do color too? And then do
I
you
do.
look at somebody and you're like, it's just, again, let me just say this week, sorry I'm so talky today,
That's okay.
but this week I literally was like, I need
It's going to happen
a
now.
glow up. I need someone just that can see and say, you really should have this color, this look, freshen up, you look tired,
Ooh.
you're aged.
I just had an idea. Editing the end of this video is going to be you with the
Oh yeah, that's
new
happening.
look. Oh,
We're doing
okay.
this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, so color, everything, you can look and say your tones, your all of that.
Like what color would be good for her?
Yeah.
Her eye
go.
color, skin
Go,
tone,
go.
whatever. Yeah. Let's see. Go.
Go.
Let's see.
Ready,
go.
set, go.
Go.
I know. I am all in right now. I manifested you, by the way.
Yeah.
It
There
was
it
just
is.
you.
Yeah.
I manifested you this
He
week.
told me you were going to be a
Look at this.
plumber, that you had a plumbing company.
No, we were supposed to have an attorney. And I was like, how am I supposed to talk to an attorney right now? I
Do
don't
they have a
know
good
what-
personality?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So dry.
So tell me color,
Just get a
yes.
hairdresser, please.
Yeah, you did good. Good job being inspired on this.
First off,
Yeah.
I'm winning.
You're winning. You are winning. I'll give you
Mom
that.
and dad are the best colorists on the planet. Like whatever we're born with is usually what's going to complement skin
Okay.
tone.
Mine was like dark.
9.9 times out of 10. And now
Nice.
everything else askew from that is just, based on trend, or you're like, I want blonde
Really?
hair because I've never had blonde hair. And so you may, derail off natural and go towards sort of
But mom and dad are the colorists.
Mom and dad are the colorists. They,
you know that
they hold
people
the
used to
tip brush
think I was
without even
Asian?
knowing it.
When I was a kid,
I think you
what's
told
that?
me
they
that.
thought I was Asian when I was a kid because I had dark hair and fair skin.
I thought you were Asian too.
Really?
So did I. I mean, and I'm Asian, and that's what I
So did I.
Yeah.
So did I. So dark
So-
hair.
So yeah, you're what, a dark blonde, maybe?
Like-
yeah, darkest blonde.
I don't know,
Somewhere
that.
right in there. Which you get a really good natural color.
But the beach, I mean, this is beach. I'm not kidding. Like, I go in the water, my boys too, people think they highlight their hair, and they're like, no, I don't highlight my hair. It is immediate in our chlorine saltwater world.
yeah.
So I don't know what
I mean,
to do about that.
for me, yeah, I mean, salt water. Hair
Sorry,
is,
viewers.
Hair is only hair. It's just like clothes.
It's
You know,
interesting.
the more it's exposed to nature, the more it's lightning.
Yeah.
It's oxidizing, or free radicals are coming in
Oh,
and
okay.
deteriorating the color pigmentation and everything in nature. And living next to the water here, like we do, you know, salt in the air is going to destroy it as well. So chlorine, salt, oxygen, period, you know, are all creating free radicals, and free radicals are jackhammers for hair color. Like it just comes in and just starts demoing it.
Yeah.
And so your hair is never, I shouldn't say never, but 99% sure that your hair is never going to get darker if you're out in the sun or exposed,
Yeah.
period.
Yeah.
And so what we're always battling is keeping what we call tone true. And so whatever we put in objectively, and it looks right when you leave, you know, how are we sustaining that color over time?
Yeah.
And we're always battling what I just mentioned.
Yeah.
We're always battling the free radicals. They're
This is
bastards.
so informative.
And
Wow.
so, yeah, I mean, for us, with you, I mean, just off the cuff, obviously, because we didn't talk about this. I think your natural color is stunning. Like, I think it's epic for your face. It brings rosiness out in your cheeks. It gives your face life and tone.
Oh, stunning.
It makes you look,
Okay.
yeah, it's
There it is.
stunning.
I like
Yeah.
But when
You're
we
like,
say,
no one's ever said
Yeah.
that.
but
to
when
me.
we
That's
say
fine. I know.
natural, are we saying
And-
like
The
not
dark.
oxidized?
Yeah,
Like
so
just
your
the
natural
dark.
color right now is,
Yeah.
to me, it's a dark blonde.
Yeah.
And so I like that. And I
I
think,
think it's a 5, right? Because when I color my grays,
every brand will have a slightly unique way.
Oh.
It's kind of proprietary. It should be universal, but it's not. A unique scaling system. And they say 1 is black and 10 is platinum blonde. And then, you know, with that scale, you know, usually you're going to find that medium brown, being the dead center of a lightest, you know, light and a darkest dark, is going to be right in the middle at a 5.
Okay.
But every once in a while, you'll see a color company go, "Oh, that's not how we do it," and you're like, "Okay, well,
messed
that's
us all up.
yeah." It's kind
All
of like
are
the
different.
U.S. changed the whole metric system
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
And so everybody's got their own sort of thing. So for you, in my scale of 0 to 10, 5 being right in the middle, which is a medium brown, I would say that you're a dark blonde, which would file into like a level 7 or a level 6. And 6 is pushing towards a medium brown.
And all one
like,
color?
Right between dark blonde, no. Right between dark blonde and light brown. So that being your base color. So
Okay.
let's just say we're going to paint a canvas, right? And we want to paint the canvas a background color, you know, and it's going to be one color. And then you're going to come in and do all the details on top of it. You're going to draw a picture of whatever, I don't know, a sunset, a bicycle, whatever you're going to draw.
Yeah.
So your base color, your primer should be your natural color, in my eyes. And at least it's a good place to start. And then from there, you know, we want to put dimension into it. So we see your layers a little bit more and we get pops in the color. And what we know in nature is that a shadow is a darker thing, right? A shadow is black and or darkest brown, whatever, you know, I guess it's happening. Which I don't know much about that. But yeah, shadow's gonna be darker, and whatever's lighter is gonna stand in front of something darker. Shadow falls behind it. So highlights are called highlights because they stand in front of something darker. So if we took some of your darker color and filtered it through some of the from the roots through the mids sections of your total length, but had pops of blonder pieces in it, like some of those blonder edges that you got towards the bottom and the front there. And if I took some of that, threw that up towards the top, and dimensionally created color, but maybe it's only 5 to 10% of the visual color that you see, and the other 95% of it is your root color that, in a sense of gradation, becomes lighter horizontally as we move towards the bottom. So maybe the bottom stays exactly the same, but in between the root up here and the darker, we slightly, it's also called ombre, they'll call it an ombre technique.
Yeah.
It's slightly with a sense of gradation. If we could just sort of turn it as you move down this way, it becomes lighter in the bottom. And then your highlights are placed vertically. So we've got this splicing of color more towards the face, which we call money pieces.
whole new Susan.
Money.
Yeah, focal pieces that that kind of drape off the top of the forehead, and then maybe in through like the sides here that fall from the temple, or just inside the front of the hairline off the recession. Maybe you've got some little blonder pieces in through there too, so it carries around the framing of your face. But the majority of your color is a little bit deeper, and that accentuation is up
So
towards your
good.
face.
We're gonna get so many
I'm like,
viewers.
yeah, absolutely.
Like the amount of my friends that are going to be tuned into this episode.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
just following you in general.
Following you, yeah. So where do we follow? How do we go to you? What do we do? Oh wait, and do you have your own product? I was curious about that.
I don't.
You're
no.
welcome, viewers.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
I don't.
you don't?
I don't. Like not a tangible product.
Okay,
Yeah,
but you
you
have
just
one
lost
that
the
you.
What, June?
I said she just lost the point, but that's okay.
She's like,
yeah, well, not a brilliant question, but
I feel like I just became less as well.
what's the opposite
You're like,
of
you're
brilliant?
not that cool.
Okay,
so let
let me
down.
rephrase.
You're like,
Can I lie?
Let me
Yeah, I totally
Yeah.
have products. I mean,
Do you have products?
It's got masking tape across about the brand. I write my name on it with a Sharpie.
No, do you have product you stand by that you're like, out of the 35 years, how long? 35 years?
Yeah, 36.
You've been doing this, you're like, this product, this is the product. Like, are you allowed to say that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have. I feel fortunate to say that I don't have an alliance with one brand, because
Okay.
I sell my product to all brands. Personal favorites, which I've just kind of revisited recently because they've been hiring me to work with their teams, is Kerastase. Kerastase, I used to sell
I
it in my
love
shop
the smell of Kerastase.
in Loyal, and it's an L word. It's confusing. I'm a hairdresser. I'm not very
yeah.
We just sponsored L'Oreal.
Yeah, so my old shop in La Jolla, I sold Kerastase, but when I opened up my new space, I was like, I want all new brands, new identity, like new connections with things. And so when Kerastase started reaching out to me last year, they sent me like this box of like,
How great is that?
dream come true of stuff.
amazing.
And so I started using it on my clients just to get my hands wet with it. And I was like, oh, damn.
That's
Like
good.
Kerastase, when it comes to shampoos, conditioners, treatments, and styling products for pretty hair, are
good enough.
unparalleled. Like it's luxury. Like it's high level legit.
And
if we were
holds
going to
color.
scale things, I would give that a 10 for sure out of 10.
Really?
It's unbelievable. And then trend based lines for styling, for aesthetic sort of texture, indie culture texture. We're seeing like hipster kids and stuff like that. There's a brand called R & Co. that's amazing right now. Kevin Murphy is amazing. Their styling products, I think, are unbelievable. Their packaging is legit, so it looks good in the bathroom and on the retail shelves. Their shampoos, conditioners, I think are good. I don't think they compare to, say, Kerastase. Shuamura, which is the makeup brand, they've got a hair care brand as well, and their styling products and shampoo products are
really?
high-level luxury. They're made in the same labs as Kerastase, and so it's coming from the same geniuses.
Yeah. Interesting.
Totally different branding, totally different scents. So it's kind of like, I just like the smell of Kerastase more than Shu, or I like Shu better than Kerastase. But I would definitely put those at the pinnacle of being the best.
Do you use styling stuff?
I like that. Was that like a puppet?
That's, yeah, the puppet, yeah.
Your ventriloquist. Did you move your
Like-
lips right now
I
when
do.
you said that?
But I don't know what it's called.
Oh,
I get it
wow.
from the barbershop.
It's from
Yeah,
Walmart.
men's brands.
Yeah.
I work with them, and so I get a lot of stuff from them as well. But Statement Grooming Goods that I mentioned earlier, that I've been working with their team, developing
Uppercut.
their
That's what it
educators.
Uppercut.
Their stuff's
That's
great. Remind me,
appropriate.
dude, and
Yeah.
I'll bring you some stuff home. Their stuff's
great.
legit.
Oh, great.
So
Yeah.
like their styling gel, which is just a regular wet
Yeah.
gel, or their styling clay or paste, are all amazing, and it smells. I'll bring you shampoo too.
Perfect.
It smells so good. You want to like.
We're going to be new people.
I know.
basket.
We're going to be new
This
people.
is
This
so
is
Yeah, the
great.
men's grooming.
Yeah,
stuff is
I did
insane.
learn that I can't, because my parents, like you said, I can't dye my hair blonde or anything.
You
I
can
still think a
perm.
blonde
He
afro
said
could
you
be a
can do-
direction.
That's
I
a
could do.
trend.
Well,
is
and think about the
perms
blonde
and
fro.
blondes.
You're supposed to go by
like
your
the
natural
blonde fro would
color.
fill in this negative space
I
up
know
here,
it
so it would make it
really
really.
would.
Oh,
Let's try it.
All
Let's
right.
just try it. I
Right,
mean,
that works.
I'm good for a whole new identity for about a year, and then, or maybe 6 months. We change.
6 months. We'll see.
so he's got to wear the fro for 6 months.
The crazy thing is, ADHDers, we
8
like
years?
change. Like
We do.
it's funny that we don't change our look as much as we should.
That's true. But then we get stuck. Certain things we get stuck in.
Yeah, I know.
Everything's like a micro trend right
Yeah.
now. It's like cool for like a month and then it's not cool anymore.
Well, I grew the mustache. I mean, when
Yeah.
I first moved there, I didn't have a mustache for the last year and a half. I've been trying to shave it, but Iman wants me to keep it. So
Yeah.
I mean,
You need to do the little handlebar situation.
you know, it's Asian hair. It kind of just. I've been
But
trying.
you know you have
You
to
need
get
the right
you got to get
product.
mustache wax.
No, I
It's
have
right
it.
there.
It's in.
Oh, you have mustache
But
wax
my
in there
hair
right
is so straight and
You still
it's hard
can't do
to.
it?
Can't do it.
now? I've even
see.
seen guys with that one handlebar mustaches that will perm the sides.
Really?
No joke. And then they take their little wax
Because it
and they
gives
do
more
it like
texture?
A friend
this.
of mine
It allows
says
it to
that.
bend. It breaks down the bonds
yeah.
in the hair so you can.
A friend of mine uses.
Manipulate it more
I'm
easily.
not going to name your name so nobody will know, but
Michael.
he uses hair growth. Just on the ends, so it
Oh,
goes
He uses
really
hair
long.
what?
Like hair growth stuff. What's that called? I forgot what it's.
Can you give us like a really good hair growth product?
I can't. Actually, if I can be totally honest, I don't
Why?
really know much about.
What do you tell
hair
people
growth
if we're
products.
You keep
wanting
asking some
hair.
questions that are bringing those points down. But
I
go
know,
ahead.
sorry. But
I mean, you are.
I mean, I don't
you are-
understand
I'm way
this.
ahead.
Like,
You're
is
winning
it
by a
Latisse?
landslide.
You can
Oh,
put
Latisse, that's
Latisse on
different.
your eyelashes.
Yeah.
It grows them like I won't say name, started to have them like curl out because they were growing so long.
Right.
Why don't they have that for hair?
They do, there's a couple different brands, but I mean, admitting mortality here, like I know more about what happens on the outside of the head than the
Yeah.
inside of the
Yeah.
head. So really, I think if somebody's looking for a good hair growth product, talking to your derm is probably
Yeah.
the person to talk to because that has a
That's
lot
true.
to do with
Talk
what's
to
happening.
your dermatologist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's happening inside. And that's not to say that I
Really?
shouldn't know a couple brands. 'Cause
Sure.
I probably should,
Wow.
but brain is drawing blank right now.
Okay, if you're a dermatologist, you should have a TikTok talking about that.
Well,
Yeah,
that's-
100%, yeah.
They kind of do.
Oh, do
I think
they?
99% of the world did know to
They
go to
know
a
that?
dermatologist.
Have you heard
Oh,
of social
really?
media?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait.
She's on MySpace. I mean, is that social media? MySpace.
Dude, they get the best
There's
MP3s.
what? What
No,
is
but
it?
so kind of going back
do
to
that?
what's the best way to people
Yeah, how do we get
following
a hold of
you? What's
you?
your page? How
Oh
do
my
we get a
god,
hold of you?
I love it. And I
Yes.
gotta look at that camera over there.
Yeah.
So first off, check out my website, which is travisparkeracademy.com or hairdressingmadeeasy.com. Both go to the same landing page, and that's where we have all of our goodies, all of our assets. For free content, definitely check out my YouTube page, which is under Hairdressing Made Easy, and we got tons of sort of bite-sized pieces from long-form video to reels, what they call shorts on YouTube. And our bite-sized pieces in long form are videos that are haircut tutorials that are broke down anywhere between 9 minutes to maybe 30 minutes max. And they're solid, but if you want the full versions of them, then you're gonna invest in the full content that gives you all the whys and a lot of other little caveat, little bonuses that we throw into there as well for our true people that are highly interested. And then social platforms, aside from YouTube, IG and TikTok, both Hairdressing Made Easy. My big page on Instagram is Travis Parker Hair. So the only thing that sort of changes script on the titles, Travis Parker Hair, which is a handle that I created 10 million years ago.
Cool.
And that's where we get our most love and our content. And I do a lot of silly stuff on there as well. So for anybody that just wants to be entertained through a hair medium,
She's adding you
it's
now.
pretty funny.
What's
Yeah,
going on?
there's some it'll make you laugh and learn a little bit about hair at the same time, and spread love too. Like I feature a lot of hairdressers from all over the world on it, where I do reaction videos to their work,
Ah.
give them love, give them props,
Oh.
and at the same time
That's
break down
cool.
their work using the language of hairdressing made
Which
easy,
goes back to
so
your
people
mission.
understand it technically at the same time.
Yeah, it goes back to your mission statement of bringing confidence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's at this. Yeah, I mean, you are the
I have
advocate of this,
Wi-Fi.
and you were talking about this before we were on cam. You know, it's about spreading the love, and it's about building community, and the more that are in our community of like-minded people that are positive, that are hungry,
Sure.
you know, the more beautiful it is to be part of that, and that is every bit of who I am, and I find that I'm happier when
Yeah.
I'm with my hair homies. So,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
yeah, I love it.
You're fun.
Yeah.
Thank
Oh,
you.
you're rad.
Yeah, this
Thank
is
you
is
for
great.
that.
This is a lot of fun.
I'm
I
gonna
learned
say
a lot.
it was a tie between you guys as well.
Oh,
So I
really?
mean, as much
Okay.
as we were being silly and we
Look at that. There you are. You
We're gonna edit that out, that part out.
hold
But
on.
yeah, I won.
follow. What a fun fun podcast.
This
Thank
was
you
a lot of
so
fun. Thank you.
much.
No, that was fun. That
Again,
was
like
awesome.
and subscribe. Check back because she's gonna have a totally
You're
new
not
look.
even gonna recognize me.
Or June.
Yeah.
Actually, for
I
that
might
matter.
have her hair and
Or
she might have mine. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
great. Yeah, I would love that.
So good. Well, Natron has his work cut out for him on editing this
Sorry,
week
dude.
Yes.
because of the laughter that you brought to the table.
Thank you so
for
much.
that.
Oh my God.
That
I appreciate
was
you.
Awesome,
Yep.
awesome. Brilliant,
guys.
brilliant,
Thank you.
brilliant.
Yeah.
That was so fun.
So
Thank
good.
you.
Thanks again.
See you next time.
All
peeps.
right, come on by. Oh, Fridays.
Oh, Fridays, yeah.
Yeah, Fridays
Absolutely.
at the group, the market space in St.
Luke, Katie,
what
and
did we
Tanitas,
say?
9 a.m. every Friday.
Yeah.
Again, just a group of amazing individuals, locals in the community that really just want to support each other. We've seen growth. Now we're over 200 members. We
huge.
had 3 months ago we had 82. Now we're over 200, and I'm seeing people make friends. I'm seeing people have personal connections, and their business is just blossoming from
Yeah,
it.
a lot of lives being changed
Yeah.
from the group. It's a wonderful place to be. So we'd love to see you again. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks for being here.
Take care.